in fact, that happened to me when we first moved here to North Carolina and we needed to establish dental care in a local practice. It was probably one of the worst new patient phone calls ever. And I silver plattered it. I called and I said, they answered and I said, "Oh, hi, so and so. My name is Stacy. We just moved into town." Now it was in the height of COVID, so we waited, about 6 months. Anyway, we just moved into town from Arizona. I'd love to establish care for me and my daughter. I recognize that you're probably booked out pretty far right now, so we'll take the first available. You can put me on an ASAP list. Like, I mean, if I could teach people how to be patients, like that was the perfect example. And I'm going to ask you a question, Mike. Do you know what the first thing she said to me was?
I don't even want to guess. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So she said, "Well, what insurance do you have?"
Oh
And
my gosh.
I'm not even joking. I can't make this up. And so then I said, "Oh, actually, we don't have dental insurance. We would be self-pay." And she's like, "That's gonna okay." Like it was like this, it's gonna be an
Yeah.
expensive thing. And I was, and she was, I didn't need her to solve for that. I didn't
Yeah.
lead with, "Do you take my insurance?" Like that would have been the perfect opportunity. 30 seconds of connection. Welcome to Newbern. We're so happy. What brought you here? Why did you choose us? Oh, I read all your reviews. You got hundreds of 5 stars. But it was just like so transactional.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Champion Dentist. I'm Mike Kulwiec, and today I am honored to have with us Stacy Savellis D. Donato. Stacy, welcome. We're so glad to have you today.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Mike. I'm so happy to be here talking about one of my favorite things. So,
And that, what are we talking about today? We're talking about how to communicate with patients. Is that right?
absolutely.
And you are
Absolutely.
you are an expert. You've been in dentistry for multiple decades. We're going to talk
Thank you
about
for
that
phrasing
in
it
a
that
yeah, yeah.
way.
And we're going to really get into the meat because this is so important. It is so important how we answer the phone, how we communicate with patients, particularly that new patient, and how we communicate in that whole process, and both on the phone and of course once they're in the practice. And you've got a lot of expertise in this area. So let's rock and roll, okay?
Okay, I'm
All
ready.
right. So guys and gals, it's always good to get an understanding of someone's background. And Stacy's been in dentistry for a while, and I'm going to read her bio to you, and it's going to give you a
Hmm.
good sense of her expertise because she's been there. All right. And she's still there. She's been in the shallow end, the deep end of the pool. All right. So let's take a listen here. With over 30 years in the dental industry, Stacy Savellis D. Donato, I love that name, has evolved from a high-performing office manager into a trusted dental practice performance coach and empowerment mentor for women seeking both professional and personal excellence. Stacy began her dental career in 1993 as a dental assistant. So, yeah, there's multiple decades now, where her natural leadership, empathy, and drive for excellence quickly moved her into management, leadership. She went on to help grow a nationally recognized cosmetic and reconstructive practice led by a past president of the AACD. And in case you don't know what that means, the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry, and a great group. Over the years, she has contributed deep operational expertise with a genuine passion for people, helping practices strengthen systems, communication, and culture. Today, Stacy partners with dental professionals and teams across the country to elevate performance, confidence, and connection. Beyond dentistry, she empowers women to recognize their innate greatness, guiding them to integrate authenticity, self-worth, and high performance in every aspect of life. I love this. Fantastic. This is so fantastic. She's now based in New Bern, North Carolina, where it might rain today. We were talking about the weather before we got started. Stacy is supported by her husband Pete and her daughter Olivia. What a beautiful name. Together, they remind her daily of the importance of balance, love, and laughter, the same values she helps her clients cultivate in their work and lives. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Stacy. What a great bio. So the fact is this, you like we talked about before we got started here, you've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt.
I
You
did.
know this whole world, you know this whole world of dentistry, all the way from assisting to office manager. And now you're involved with besides what we just described here, you're also involved with the folks at Mango.
Hmm.
Mango Voice, and people in dentistry know that as the company that provides the phone systems and things related to that. And they have teamed up with a gal that we all love and know from Front Office Rocks, and that's Laura Nelson. And now
Hmm.
she has created with Catherine Eitel Belt a program. I think it's called "You Got Them at Hello." Is that it?
Have them at hello.
Have them at
Have them at
hello,
hello.
right?
Yes.
Which is such a beautiful title. And I will tell you, I am going through this program. I've got clients who are in it, and it's like, oh my God, because it is so well done. And we're going to talk about that. And it involves it's to the point, doesn't take a whole ton of time to get through it, but AI is involved, and there's AI phone calls that happen, and I've done it. It's really, really cool. That's the world that we're in today. So let's just start with this question. Why do so many dental teams struggle with the new patient phone call?
Well, mostly because we haven't been trained. I think back to when I first started, and I just thought if I answered the phone and was smiling and answered all of the patient's questions, that I was doing a good job. I thought I was doing a really good job if they made an appointment. But what I learned is just because you schedule the patient doesn't necessarily mean it was a good phone call. So I would say it's lack of training. I think that oftentimes we get into this transactional phase where we just ask questions, take the data, what is your name? What is your date of birth? We're asking these questions well before it even matters. I mean, those details matter. They don't matter at the beginning. We don't even know if we can help them or what type of appointment they need. So why would we go through that? So to answer your question, I would say it's training, and I also think that there's a part, Mike, that has to do with intention, right? Like if you're sitting at the front desk and it's your job to answer the phone, you're just kind of mindlessly answering the phone all day. But it's answering the phone with, okay, I've got a potential new patient on the phone, challenge accepted. It's my job to figure out when they're
Yeah.
coming. What do they need and when are they coming?
So
And so it's
you're
very intentional.
so your point there is okay, it's a lack of training, right? If somebody's not really good at a lot of things in life, they haven't been trained, they haven't practiced it. They just have not gone from good to great, right?
Right. Or no one's told them, and they think that they're doing great
Yeah.
based on what they know.
So what's the biggest mistake that front office teams make in answering that new patient phone call?
Well, I think it goes back to what I was saying with, if a patient calls the office and what we know about new patients is they're going to lead typically with, do you accept my insurance? Are you in network? How much is a crown? We get those, the shoppers. And then, we've got the genuine people who've pretty much already made a decision by maybe they looked at your Google reviews, they were given a referral, they've already decided that they want to make an appointment. So those are the easy ones. I think where the challenge comes in, especially in the fee for service offices, is that if you're out of network and the patient asks a question like, are you in network with Delta Dental? The challenge becomes team members or what I'm hearing is they'll go down this rabbit hole of, well, we're not in network. And they go through this whole explanation versus just receiving the question, are you in network with Delta Dental? You know what? That's a really great question. I'd love to get into the details of that. Who am I speaking with? I'm going to quickly transition that patient into a conversation where I get to learn who they are and what they want and how that matches what we can provide them. And then you tie in the details of the insurance. But I think what happens is we just get programmed to answer the question, make it transactional. Are you in network? No, and it's not that blatant. Sometimes it is that direct. We've heard team members say, no, we're not in network. And then that's the end of the conversation. So,
Do you have you found, and I've been in over 1,000 dental offices in the course of my almost 50 years in dentistry, and I know you've been in a lot as well. How often do you encounter dental office environments where it's almost like the individual's answering the phone, most commonly a woman, a female, she has one or two hands tied behind her back because she's being asked to do a million different things
mhm.
along with answer the phone. Do you find that to be the case? And do you agree with me that that's kind of unfair?
Yes, and I would say
Okay.
this. It's kind of, I look at anyone who works administratively in a dental practice as an octopus. I mean, you have to have the ability to completely multitask and be completely present on the phone while doing other things. Like it's
Okay.
not an option, right? It is a requirement of the position. So while one might say it's unfair, it's part of the reality of the job that you've accepted
Yeah.
and knowing how to compartmentalize, meaning this is a new patient phone call. I have to have focus. I have to be smiling. I have to be leading and guiding. Gosh, that darn phone is ringing again, and I'm trying to get this insurance claim completed. It's like, I get it. And what an
Yeah.
opportunity we have every time that phone rings. Practices are spending thousands of dollars a month on marketing to drive new patient and new patient growth. And where it fails is on that new patient phone call many times. Again, because we don't have well-trained team members to manage those calls and convert more patients.
Well, I've never seen an eight-armed front desk receptionist, but apparently what you're saying is they
Yeah,
must be out there.
yeah, you do. You
I've
just
always
can't
seen
see
I've
them.
seen the two-armed versions, but
Yeah, you just
I
can't see
understand
them.
your analogy, and you're right. It is a fact of life.
Hmm.
Most dental offices do not have the budget to just have one person literally in a back room. All they're doing is
Hmm.
handling phone calls. Sometimes the practice is large enough where they do that and they're it makes sense.
Yeah.
So when we look at how things have evolved in training, AI now is here,
Hmm.
and I would love it if you could explain to us how this program, the Mango, again, what is it? You've got them at hello, but
Have them at
have
hello,
them at
Mike. Have
hello. I
them at
beg your pardon. Have
hello.
them at hello. Have them at. Was there a movie you got me at hello? I don't know. Have them at
Yes,
hello.
it's Jerry Maguire. Jerry
Okay.
Maguire. Yes.
Okay.
You had me at
So
hello, is what she says.
love it. Love it. So with that in mind, let's just dig into this fact that wow, you are part of something because you're providing coaching to people that are enrolled in this program.
Hmm.
And as I understand it, it's been designed so that people can get through it literally in a relatively short period of time. This is not a year thing. You don't have to get on a plane and go to a weekend course, and you're able to get through it. And there's the reps of the quizzing and then the AI, and then there's also you. You're
Yeah.
available, from what I remember, two
Hmm.
days a week. I've called into your office hours.
Yes,
So
you have.
let's roll back the curtain,
Okay.
okay, on this new feature that's available, which I think is absolutely fantastic as a learning tool for dental offices. Can you describe it to us, please?
I can. Well, I have kind of have to start at the beginning of this.
Sure.
So I was working with Catherine Nightel Belt. So I met Catherine back in October of 2000. She was actually my first coach as a dental team member. And so can't even tell you how many years we worked together, and I just love and adore everything about her. And she taught me these phone skills, 26 years ago. And so I think it was 2017 or 2018, she was looking to share that lane of Lion Speak, which is the originator of Have Them at Hello. She was, stepping into other parts of her business. And so she posted something, I think it was on Facebook, expanding and wanting not a business partnership, but someone to help her with that lane. And so I was doing the Lion Speak Have Them at Hello program, and that is all live coaching. You do a kickoff, and then we had quarterly meetings and mystery shopper calls, and it was a lot of fun. And recognizing that in this day and age, the challenge is team members don't necessarily have the time to come together as a group for an hour every quarter. It was a hindrance. And so when Mango partnered with Catherine and the Have Them at Hello program, it created an opportunity for me to kind of come along with it, as someone who has done it in the traditional version, if you will. And then Laura's amazing brain and her ability with AI blows me away every single day, putting that all together. And so knowing that we've got this great program, it's self-paced, by design, we say it takes about 30 days to get through it. Now, you can actually get through it in a day if you wanted to. The reason we ask our members to slow it down a little bit is so they can learn, retain, apply it, find success with it. So layering it in, not feeling like you have to rush. And the part that I love the most is, mystery shopper calls. We had to have people call the office and pretend to be a patient. And this
Right.
gives real-time opportunity to role play with our AI patients. They're fun. And you can stop in the middle. You can say, I want to do that over. And then at the end of each call, they say, do you want feedback? And so basically they redirect, they always find something good, great job with this. I love the way you welcomed me. And then it'll say, and here are some things we noticed. Maybe go back to using the patient's name more often, or leading with confidence, or it gives you real-time feedback. So after that call, you get to hang up and apply that skill to your real patient base. And then, oh, sorry, I was just saying, in the office hours, again, twice a week, but they're really fun because it creates an opportunity of community for people of like minds going through this program to come and share their wins, share their funny stories of things that happen with AI because it is not perfect, and also do some like talking about real life patient experiences that they're having. And so when we do that, they're walking away with tips and tricks that are not built into the program itself. So again, that's just a little plug for those office hours because
Yeah, and I
so
and I
much comes out of it.
I think it conceptually how this has been put together is brilliant, right?
Hmm.
Because the quality of the instruction is fantastic.
Hmm.
You've got quizzes, and then you've got the AI. And by the way, it's not just one AI patient. There's five, if I remember correctly. Is that right?
Hmm.
They're all
Yeah.
different. They have got different voices, male and female, right?
Hmm.
And that makes it so much fun, makes it so interesting. And yeah, there's a bit of a fun challenge there as well,
Yeah.
right? And to get that immediate coaching, this is the world that we're in now,
Yeah.
and this is where we're going when it comes to what I will use the term high effectiveness, high efficiency
Hmm.
learning. We want that, but
Yes.
we still want that human touch. Now, the fact is, yes, we're dealing with a computer, software, whatever, but it
Hmm.
doesn't matter, really. It's the learning that we're after. In terms of your experience thus far, because this product, this software, has not been around for years, it's relatively new.
Hmm.
It's the culmination of all of the different human effort for Catherine and Laura and yourself. When you look at the experience for people thus far,
Hmm.
I'm sure you've probably had people where they were relatively new to dentistry, and then you've got other people that have been doing it for a while. They've
Yep.
got some miles. What type of feedback have you gotten from people that have gone through this program?
Well, I know it's going to sound like I'm making it up, but we have gotten rave reviews from
Mhm.
doctors, managers, team members, all saying that it was easy to follow along with. It all made sense. I think one of the biggest takeaways that team members appreciate about our program is we are not scripting anyone, right? That's the piece where oftentimes you get the pushback because scripting doesn't always sound authentic and genuine and natural. So when you can just create the platform or the framework of what steps to follow and how to follow through those steps, there's much more confidence in that. And so that's definitely one of the benefits that team members are really appreciating is just give me the structure and let me bring my best self to each and every phone call.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the same token, there is a, if you will, a checklist that
Hmm.
I need to follow when I'm
Yeah.
taking that new patient phone call and a format of how I'm discovering, how I'm questioning. And it's kind of a, if you will, it's kind of like a dance, right?
It is a
You
dance.
know, you have to learn the dance. You've got to understand it. I was a very poor dancer when I started to learn how to ballroom dance and then East Coast swing. And I used to stand in front of the video DVD player and watch and literally practice by myself. But eventually I became competent, right? But the point is, okay, when you are dancing, there's a certain routine you're following.
Yes.
Yeah. And these are the steps.
Yep.
Foxtrot, cha-cha, Lindy Hop, whatever it might be. These are the steps.
Right.
Now,
Right.
what's important here is that what you're teaching is, okay, here's the steps, but it's just an outline of how you're going to be moving to the music, moving to the beat of the conversation.
Yes.
Does that sound right to you?
It does, it does. And there are four steps, right? Four steps to each new patient phone call, and it's connection, discovery, solutions, and details. And it's important that we follow that order to get the desired outcome. We know when we do that, we follow the topics and then kind of the subtopics underneath that. We know that through those details, using information, using active listening, creating bridges to get from step one to step two seamlessly, it flows so differently. And, sometimes, team members are like, oh my gosh, how long are these new patient phone calls going to be? If done really well, 4 to 6 minutes. 4 to 6 minutes. And we've already developed trust and relation, step phase one of trust and relationship with that patient. And it wasn't by, just chit chatting, about nothing. It was very intentional direction, uncovering what's important to that patient. What are they looking for? What do they need? What's their history? How do you take all of that information and tie it to the solution? And in some cases, not all, and I'm not an advocate for this, but sometimes the solution is not an appointment with your practice. Sometimes based on what a patient is looking for, like for example, if a patient can only come on weekends and you see patients Monday through Thursday and they've got no flexibility or willingness to be flexible, they just want a Saturday dentist. Well,
Yeah.
as much as we would love to take care of you, Mike, we'd be happy to see you Monday through Thursday. And if you'd love to find a way to make an accommodation for that, I'd love to help you make an appointment,
Yeah.
right? So sometimes the solution is not an appointment, but often, I mean, more often than not, of course, our goal is to schedule. I think a lot of that just made me think of something else. A lot of practices aren't really tracking their conversion rates, meaning how many opportunities did they have? So how many potential new patients could they have scheduled versus how many they did? And when you start tracking that kind of information, you get to learn, okay, what were the reasons they didn't move forward? Because once we've got that, once we can identify the trend, it allows us to then create a different solution or strategy to say, okay, well, what do we need to work on to help overcome more of those? We're not going to convert all of them. We don't have that expectation. But how do we convert as many patients as possible to say yes to us? So that it's an important metric. It just
It,
popped up. Sorry.
yeah, absolutely. And as you know, Stacy, I've just published two different books.
I do.
One is called Dentistry is a Team Sport, and the other one is Beyond the Treadmill. And Beyond the Treadmill really addresses the issue of the doctor where, things are not going exactly the way they want. And here's the
Hmm.
solution to that. And dentistry as a team sport is really about what we're talking about right now, which is the team. And a critical member of that team is are the individuals who are answering the phone, and the people who are greeting patients when they walk in the door.
Absolutely.
Now, you just brought up the importance of measurement,
Mm-hmm.
and we know that that which we measure we can manage.
Mm-hmm.
Most dental practices have no idea how many new patient phone calls they're getting per month. They
Nope.
don't track it. They don't know what their conversion rate is between calls that come in for new patients and how many got booked. And if they didn't book, why? You just talked about the patient who wants a Saturday appointment. That's the kind of thing that needs to be documented.
Mm-hmm.
And that entire new patient journey really should be measured, and that is what was presented.
Mm-hmm.
What was the value of what was presented at that first visit? What was it accepted? If it was accepted, was it all accepted or only a portion? And we know this comes into the matter of fit. You might wind up presenting the doctor upon review presents $10,000 worth of care.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now may not be the right time for two of the four conditions, right?
Mm-hmm.
She patient just really wants to get the two centrals taken care of before her daughter's wedding,
Yep.
and that is the number one priority. These other things, she's missing a tooth, she's got some other things that need to be addressed. These are things that can be delayed. This
Yep.
concept of fit is very important. But the point is that if you're not measuring, you're not managing, and it's almost like you're driving down the highway with your eyes closed.
That's
Okay,
right. That's right.
and it's only going to last for a little bit here. You close them for a bit, okay, but eventually there's going to be a problem. A
Absolutely.
lot of practices, they really, it's there's no fault. It's just you don't learn this in dental school.
Hmm.
And they're not, if you will, being given a model like when you buy a franchise, like here's your playbook, here's the numbers.
Hmm.
Can we spend some time talking about that? Again, this whole world of, as it relates to phones and that experience, what metrics are really, really important from your perspective?
Well, when it comes to, if we're just talking about the new patient experience, it's definitely the actual conversion. So how many times did our phone ring and of the, or our email ding, anyway, how many opportunities did we have? And of those opportunities, how many of those did we convert? Number one. I think the second piece that's really telling is some practices are really good at getting people in the door. I want to know how many of those patients say yes to the next appointment. I want to know, are we retaining the new patients we're tracking? On that note, it's also important to be measuring your attrition because if you're seeing 20 new patients a month, but you're losing 25, your net new patient growth is in the negative. So the reason why we bring that attrition into the new patient experience is in order for us to really establish, are we a practice that's growing? Or are we maintaining status quo for every new patient we get? We're losing one on the other end, which is a whole other conversation about internal practice systems for another day. But
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
So, and this, you just underlined an important point. A lot of practices are not aware what their attrition rate is. And
Mhm.
the fact is, you're going to have attrition. Patients
Absolutely.
move, pass away, change to another dentist.
Hmm.
And if you don't have a handle on that, like you just said, you could have negative growth. You may be bringing in 20 new patients a month, but if your net is 25 becoming inactive for one reason or another, you are not growing. You're actually shrinking as a dental practice.
Yep.
And again, that's a matter of making sure you've got the systems for that.
Correct. Yeah, because we see it all the time as, doctors are like, why are we reducing, based on our new patient growth, why are we not able to keep our hygiene occupancy high? It doesn't make sense, all these new patients. And it's like, well, you've got a system with a leaky bucket. And so at a time when you are seeing 20 new patients consistently or plus a month, given the size of your practice, we should be adding hygiene days, which is a little bit a whole other challenge these days with being able to find hygienists. But
Yeah.
again, another topic for another day. So yeah, I just think it's really important to know what numbers to look at. What are we evaluating? And then what do we learn from it? Because sometimes you've got team members that are actually really good at tracking data, but it's more like a data entry process, meaning I filled out the report, I told you what we produced, I told you our adjustments, our collection, like I told you all those things. And it's like, I know, but I would never ask a team member to track something that wasn't going to be utilized for their benefit, right? Like we're not just tracking to track, we're tracking to learn, we're tracking to
Yeah.
celebrate when we're winning, we're tracking to identify any gaps so we know exactly what to coach into. And
Yeah.
so I love metrics. That's one of my favorite components.
Yeah. And I think that, when we play sports, as a child, we keep score. Even on the
Yeah, yeah, we
playground, we keep score.
do.
And we watch a game. They
Yeah,
keep score. And we somehow, when we get into the world of work and business and whatever, numbers kind of can become alien. And it's like, no, we have to manage based on facts, not feelings. And the feelings
absolutely.
that we have, we want them to be good feelings because we're hitting our facts where our numbers are where we want them to be.
Yep.
Let's look at two different scenarios. One is the dentist who's with us today, where they think their team does a great job on the phone. I mean, when they happen to hear someone talking, um, but they're not tracking the numbers. So
Hmm.
in that situation, it's like, yeah, well, yeah, I think we're doing a great job, but they're not tracking the numbers.
Yeah, how do you know? How do
How do
you
you,
know?
yeah, how do you know it? What would you say to that guy or gal where, Mary is so amazing on the phone, but do they really know factually how well she's performing? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I actually have a solution. I was like, my first is I'm someone who operates from the spirit of get curious, ask questions. So you say Mary's great on the phone. Tell me more about that. What are you hearing? What are you seeing? What are you noticing? What do you love about what she's saying or doing? So I get real curious first and
Mhm.
uncover what makes them think or feel that. And then the other thing is at Mango, before you even sign up for the program, there is a phone number that you can call. It's a baseline. So it's without any coaching training, just gives a baseline of how someone in the office would answer a traditional new patient phone call. What steps did they take? Are they following a framework? And so it's a great opportunity to say, well, let's just hear a call. I mean, then it's no longer about how do we feel or think, it's what we know. And
Yeah.
one of the things I love about metrics and protocols and processes is because when there are gaps or misses, it then becomes about the protocols, the processes, the numbers, not necessarily the people yet, right? It's not always who's doing it, is do we have solid processes and programs in place. So I would also ask that doctor, do you do call recording internally? A lot of the phones now, Weave, Mango, all of them, they have that call recording feature, and then they're not always using the analytics or listening to the call for ongoing training and or celebrating of how well the team members are doing on the phone.
So the call recording with Mango, does that involve AI analysis of the phone calls?
So I don't believe it gives the feedback like we're doing with the AI patients on
Okay.
Mango. However, it does do an AI summary that then gets pasted right into the software, the dental software that you're using. I do not believe that is a feature now. Hopefully, maybe one day that is something that can be explored because I think
Yeah,
that's
I,
great
I,
feedback.
I think that certainly uh, what I would like is I'd like to know if I'm an office manager, I'd like some reporting on,
Sure.
with AI. How well are we doing? How well
Mhm.
is Mike doing?
Yeah.
And he when he answers the phone, what's the sentiment? What's the metric or metrics on his performance? And I know that there are some companies out there offering that now.
Hmm.
I know one where if it's a really bad call, guess what? I get, as the practice manager, I get a text message, I get an email saying this was a
Hmm.
911 call. We want that, right? We
Yeah.
don't want to
Well,
discover
and
it a
I've
week or a month
seen
later.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
I've seen and
please.
worked with those programs too when working with other coaching clients. And what I also learned is like there are the obvious triggers that are indicate bad call, right? Like bad call. And sometimes I think it can get convoluted in the sense that because the team member successfully made the appointment for the patient, that could potentially be deemed a good call. When in fact, and what I was saying earlier is not all, just because you made the appointment doesn't mean it was a great call. Some people have already just made decisions to schedule an appointment in your practice and it wouldn't have mattered who was on the other end. In fact, that happened to me when we first moved here to North Carolina and we needed to establish dental care in a local practice. It was probably one of the worst new patient phone calls ever. And I silver plattered it. I called and I said, they answered and I said, oh, hi, so and so. My name is Stacy. We just moved into town. Now it was in the height of COVID. So we waited, about 6 months. Anyway, we just moved into town from Arizona. I'd love to establish care for me and my daughter. I recognize that you're probably booked out pretty far right now. So we'll take the first available. You can put me on an ASAP list. Like, I mean, if I could teach people how to be patient, like that was the perfect example. And I'm going to ask you a question, Mike. Do you know what the first thing she said to me was?
I don't even want to guess. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So she said, well, what insurance do you have?
Oh
And
my gosh.
I'm not even joking. I can't make this up. And so then I said, oh, actually, we don't have dental insurance. We would be self-pay. And she's like, that's gonna okay. Like it was like this, it's gonna be an
Yeah.
expensive thing. And I was, and she was, I didn't need her to solve for that. I didn't
Yeah.
lead with, do you take my insurance? Like that would have been the perfect opportunity. 30 seconds of connection. Welcome to Newbern. We're so happy. What brought you here? Why did you choose us? Oh, I read all your reviews. You got hundreds of 5 stars. But it was just like so transactional. And as you can imagine, as a phone skills coach, I'm like biting my lip and then thinking, I already made the decision to go to this practice because of the reviews and the local referrals that we had received. And it's hard because then you go to the dental practice as a patient and you don't want to, I mean, you do want business, right? And you also don't want to create a
Right.
negative,
Right.
I don't know, relationship with the team, but it was tricky to balance. And so anyway, long story short, the hygienist who I ended up meeting that day was wonderful. And She asked me, 'cause once she learned what I did, she was like, oh, so how's our office doing? And I was like, I
Oh
think there
no.
could be opportunity, right? There could be some opportunity.
Oh
We
golly.
don't go to that office anymore. Now we go to a new office, and this team is rock stars.
Yeah, and it's such a it's a both an unfortunate and good example
Hmm.
of what not to do.
Yeah.
And my heart breaks for that individual who had not been trained, and clearly she had
Correct.
not been trained,
And
right?
she's someone who'd been and this is the other challenge, right? Someone who had been in dentistry for over 30 years. And so she's been
Yeah.
doing the same thing she learned 30 years ago over and over with no course correction, no feed. It doesn't, I would have guessed no feedback, because if after all those years that was my experience with her, it makes me sad, because I want to
Okay.
say, let me help you. Let me help
So
you.
let let's get some advice from Stacy.
Okay.
So a dentist who is with us today,
Okay.
let's look at two different scenarios, both leading to the same thing.
Okay.
One is, oh, Mary's great. Mary's amazing on the phone. I think she's wonderful. But, yeah, I saw this episode and on YouTube with Mike and Stacy, and I'm not really sure that we couldn't get better.
Mhm.
Okay, that's one. The other
Yep.
one is, Bobby Joe, boy, I cringe when I go from operatory to operatory and I hear her on the phone. And in either one of those instances, one of the things that we sometimes face in life is can become difficult to have the hard conversation. It is difficult unless we learn skills for it.
Hmm.
So whether Mary's doing a great job or Bobby Joe makes you cringe, and you want to make sure you go from good to great as a practice, and that this is an area where you're like Disney, you're like Ritz-Carlton. It's like we are really good at this, and you and I both know, Stacy, when you get really good at this, work's more fun. It's
Oh, yeah.
more fun, right? It's
Hmm.
less stressful. You enjoy it. So my point is, how would you suggest, if you are the practice owner, practice manager, that you broach this subject with the team that is vested with the responsibility of answering the phone?
Yeah, well, I think you said it best. There's two opportunities in any practice. It's either how do we continue to evolve, because I'm a believer that none of us are done growing. I mean, there's always a pearl, right? Like I can remember going to continuing ed courses like, oh, I think I could teach this, as a team member, of course. That's very arrogant, but it was my truth until I learned, ego aside, like there's something here for me. And so as someone who's been in the profession for a very long time, being open to a new way, a new strategy, I think is really, really important. And I think for the team member who oftentimes we cringe, I think it's presenting that in a way of, what did you say her name was? I don't, oh, I don't remember.
Bobby Joe,
Bobby
I'm
Joe,
sorry if
Bobby
your
Joe,
name's Bobby Joe, but I'm picking on Bobby Joe. She
yeah.
makes you cringe.
Okay, I would just say if it was a one-on-one conversation, I would say, Bobby Joe, there's something I want to share with you. I've recently learned about this new program, and as a practice that's completely committed to always be evolving, always be, whether you're moving from good to great, we think that there's a real opportunity here for you. We'd love to invest in your continuing education and growth. We're really excited about it. We've got great feedback. So we've gone ahead and invested in you, and we're providing you with this gift of
Wonderful.
continuing education that, truth be told, you can take with you anywhere you go, right? Like we hope that you'll be with us for a lifetime. And if life should take you another direction, these are skills and tools that you will forever have in your belt
Wonderful.
that
And
will help
would
you.
you basically say the same thing to Mary, who's doing
I
a
would.
phenomenal job?
I would. I think it's the same. I think it's, you know what, Mary, we so appreciate the way that you interact with our patients and your new patient phone calls. And as a practice committed to growth, we're always evolving. So I don't think the conversation is much different, because I don't think we have to make, poor Bobby Joe bad or wrong. I think it's just how do we show her an opportunity into something she's unaware of, that she's never seen or experienced. And then appreciating someone who does have the foundation and does have a skill set and say, we love that. We want to continue to invest in your growth and opportunities with development to best support our practice. People come into the program for different reasons, right? It's either they just need phone skills training because they've never had it. They need phone skills training because they're struggling with, as they're transitioning to out of network. The doctors want their teams to be well versed to just because we're going out of network doesn't mean we're not going to see those patients or potential new patients with that insurance. We need to learn how to communicate why they should still come to our office and how we can help them with the benefits they have available. And so, those are the drivers. So people come for different reasons, but there's just so much information. And like I said, doesn't matter the number of years of experience that you have. I promise there's something new, different, and unique that you
Yeah.
may not have heard of yet.
Okay, so let's go for the double bonus here because I think there's a double bonus in this.
Okay,
I think that when you go through the mango, have them at hello
you
training.
got
Yeah, I got
it.
it. Hey, I went through third grade 3 times. It just takes me repetition. Repetition is the mother of skill, including remembering things. When you go through this course, I'm right in the middle of it, and I've got clients who are going through it and have gone through it. It's okay. I have gotten so much more comfortable on the phone.
Yeah.
I think the double bonus is you become more comfortable talking to patients face to face. Would you agree?
I would agree. I would agree. And like I said, in that, maybe 4 to 6 minute conversation, we've learned a lot about that patient's goals and values and who they are and what they're looking for. And I would hope, right, that when that new patient walks through the door, that we're prepared. We know we're standing up. We're what? Oh, hi, Mike. I'm Stacy. It's so nice to finally meet you in person. I've been looking forward to your visit. Like how powerful, again, all of these things contribute ultimately to case acceptance, treatment acceptance, because when people know us, they like us, they trust us, they'll oftentimes say yes. And so we start that on that first phone call and we continue it through their entire patient experience.
I could not agree with you more. It, it reminds me of the experience that I had when I called Disney regarding tickets I had purchased.
Okay.
And that was the first time I experienced the Disney magic on the phone when they call you friend.
Oh, mhm.
And that felt a little weird the first
Yeah.
second I heard it. Then it's like, by the time I was done, it was like, I love this person. I mean, she's so warm and cordial and
Hmm.
friendly. I see why she was, they use that.
Hmm.
And it added to my overall excitement about going with my grandkids to
Yeah,
Disneyland.
I get it.
And yeah, that entire Disney experience is choreographed, right?
Hmm.
And everything from the phone to when you're there. And we want the experience in a dental practice to be choreographed as well, right? Not
Absolutely.
strictly scripted, but
Nope.
we want, hey, this is how we dance. This is how we take care of people. It reminds me of that show Cheers, where hey, everybody knows your
Everybody knows
name.
your
Hey,
name.
Norm, right? We want that degree of recognition in our lives. And here's an additional point that we all know really well. Typically, going to the dental office is a bit of stress
Yeah,
for people when it comes to the potential of pain, fear, money,
funny.
short on time, all of these things. Look, if you're going in for the veneers or Invisalign or whitening, okay, that's a different circumstance.
Yeah,
But it doesn't really matter why that person's coming in the door. It's our job in the dental team to make it a wonderful experience. Even when you are coming in for a root canal, it's got to be a wonderful experience for the
that's right.
individual. Would you agree with all that?
100%. I couldn't agree more. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, because when you do that, people fall in love with you.
They do.
And by that I mean they're going to be loyal, they're going to refer, they're going to really look forward to being there, whatever the circumstance is, because in our world today, there's a lack of connection in a lot of ways.
Oh my
In a
goodness,
lot of ways
yes.
where people are there looking at their phone, they're dealing with a lot of different stuff, and I think that when a practice allows a person to come in and almost feel like they're in this oasis
Mhm.
of love, of
Mm.
attention and consideration, that's unusual
Yeah.
in the
Well, that's
world
the,
today.
the true epitome of, the self-care. Like this hour, whether I'm here to see the hygienist or, whatever, this hour is for me, right? And I'm going to be surrounded by people who want to take care of me, who are ensuring that I'm feeling good, I'm comfortable. My job when I worked internally in the office was every patient that I encounter, I want to make sure that they leave here feeling better than when they walked in, even if they were already on cloud nine, I'm like, I want to get you to cloud 10. So
Yeah.
that's just the mission, of connecting and caring for people. And I think through that comes the comprehensive care. And through the comprehensive care comes the production, comes the numbers that support and drive the business. But I don't think it has to start there. I mean, I think we need to know where our goals are, but I
Yeah.
believe in the connection with the people and the experience that drives the trust, that makes the yes, that drives the numbers to make the business go.
Well, everyone that's with us right now, just take a look at the notes from this episode. Whether it's YouTube or Apple, however you're with us today, you will be able to track this lady down. Okay, the information's there. Okay, and you can find Stacy thanks to what we're going to be putting in the notes here. But let's just verbalize it right now. If someone wants to find you, what's the best way for them to find you? Is it through the Mango website,
Yes,
or is there
yes.
anything else you'd like to share right now that gets people in the right direction?
No, no, no. Go right to the Mango website. All of the information is on there. And also, if you should decide to sign up for the Have Them at Hello program, you can use code Stacy Rocks 50, and that'll provide you with a little savings, which I will say is very, very well priced for what we're giving back to the dental community.
It is an extremely reasonable price,
Mhm.
guys. You don't, it's shocking how reasonably priced this is, and that I really appreciate. And I will tell you, I signed up. You did that initial
Yeah,
baseline phone
baseline
call,
phone
and
call. Oh, I know you
that was fun, and it's really well done. So, guys and gals, this is really something that you should check out because whether you are at that championship level or not, we all can get better. The best teams are always getting better, whether you're the Knicks or the Dodgers or who just won the NHL? Was it your team in Charlotte?
I don't know, Mike.
Yeah, I think it was your team that won
Okay,
that won the Stanley Cup. Well, guess what? The season's over. You won the championship. Get in the new season, you got to get better because
that's
that's
right.
just the nature of sports. It's the nature of what we do. Stacey, this has been so fantastic.
Thank
What a
you.
wonderful experience it's been to for you to share with us what you're up to and your background. And I know if someone wants to talk with you about what you're doing outside of the world of voice coaching, they're going to be able to talk with you about that as well. So
Yes.
on
Well,
that
and I
note,
also, I didn't, one of the things I'd like for us to share
sure.
in the notes is I'll provide a Calendly link. I'm happy to do a 15-minute phone call or meeting with anyone who has questions about the program. Love to walk you through it. We'd love to have you join our team because it's a lot of fun and there's a lot of great information in there.
Fantastic. Guys, find Stacy, book a call, have a conversation. You're gonna love it. With that in mind, thank you so much, Stacy, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Until next time, be well. Cheers.